So today is the first warm day of the year, and how did I spend it? I spent it in a dark room watching the adaptation of the video game Until Dawn. Until Dawn is the adaptation of the hit video game that centres around a group of friends who travel to a cabin in order to find their missing friend. When they get there, they find out that each night it repeats itself, and with that comes a new threat they have to face, and they have to just survive until dawn. So yeah, this is an adaptation of a video game, and I have played the video game. My experience of it is that I played it when it first came out, and that's kind of it. So I'm kind of going into this with, I remember the ending, I remember the overall concept of what it is, and the tone. And that's kind of it. So I think because of that, this film was actually kind of perfect for me. I had a really fun time. I really enjoyed this. But I have problems with it. There is going to be spoilers for this because there's some things I want to talk about that I can't say without spoiling it. And we are going to do a spoiler section at the end of the video, so don't worry, I'm not going to spoil things now because it's just come out. I don't know when this video is going out. This is going up today, but it probably got up quite late because I went to a late showing. My local cinema isn't actually doing a lot of showings for this film, which can sometimes be a bit worrying. I don't know what the overall opinion of this film is, but as someone who only remembers like the basic concept of the game and the tone, yeah, I had a lot of fun with it. I really enjoyed this. So back when the first trailer for this came out, a lot of fans of the game, there was a backlash. A lot of people didn't like this, was like, this is not Until Dawn, this is not the adaptation of it. And I could kind of see what they were doing. So if you don't know what the game is, it's a narrative, story-based game where after a certain point, you get two options, or dialogue options or action options that come up. And what you pick determines on what story you get and what route you get throughout the game. So each gameplay will probably be different depending on what you pick. So in that, what they've done with this is, like I explained in the synopsis section, they've gone with, okay, let's take that branching pathway thing and just put all of the options into one film. So they don't really get an option of what to pick. They just have to go through different pathways, and they don't get a choice about this. And on one side, yeah, I can agree with the fans that this isn't a straight adaptation of the game because it's done a bit differently. But on the other side, I do kind of get where the filmmakers were coming from, where I think this was a difficult sort of film to adapt because of the branching pathways, because of the different routes you could take. So I think this was an interesting way round to go about it, but I also do agree with the fans that this isn't quite right for an adaptation of the game. I did see a couple of people like pitch an idea that what they could have done was actually each cinema could have had a different version of the film or had a different ending, similar to what the film Clue did all those years ago, and each cinema will show a different ending, or halfway through the film will change. And I think that's a really interesting idea, and I kind of think that would have been better. But at the same time, I liked the concept that they went with, even if it's not quite right with the game. And I think that is the thing, like, I enjoyed this film, but in terms of an adaptation, that's going to be different. There is a couple of other things that I think won't sit right with fans that I'll talk about in spoilers. I'm not going to talk about it here because it is spoiling something, it is spoiling the ending. But yeah, there's definitely a couple of things where I was like, but I think this was a lot of fun, and I think because each night is a different threat or a different thing, you have a whole load of different horror tropes in this. The jump scare beats, yes, they're predictable, but they are there. You have a lot of different types of horror, so there wasn't just possession or ghosts or monsters, there was also body horror. There's a really amazing sequence, again, spoiler section might be a lot bigger than than my non-spoiler section, as always, but I think what it allowed for is all these different types of horror tropes and horror genres to be put in here, which I think worked really well. And like, yeah, does the film have cheesy dialogue? Does it have predictable jump scare beats? Does it have, you know, over the top music? Does it have a bit of a cheesy tone? And, you know, all this lot? Yes. But from what I remember, so did the game. So so I don't really feel like that's a criticism. It was kind of what I was hoping for and expecting. And yeah, it is what I remember from the game, or again, from my run of the game. And this is the thing, like, each run is going to be different depending on what you pick. So in that, I do like that they put different genres of horror and sub-horror into this film to be like, okay, this is what they're going to do now, okay, this is what they're going to do now, and so on and so forth. But at the same time, yeah, I do understand this isn't... There's some things in here... Yeah, I can see where the disagreements are going to come in. I'm looking at my notes. I don't really have much else to say on the spoiler or non-spoiler part. I did really enjoy this as someone who doesn't remember a lot of the source material, but as I'm thinking about what the game was and the adaptation of the film and comparing it, I can see this being divisive. I can definitely see this being divisive, but for me, I had a great time. I had a really fun time. I really enjoyed it. And yeah, I don't really have anything else to say that isn't spoilerish. So let's go on to spoilers. So let's talk about the ending part, which I said there was a moment in the ending where I was like, okay, I don't think fans are going to really like this very much. I think this is really going to anger people. So, the whole thing is an experiment to sort of demonstrate fear, and what was found out is that each time someone stayed in this house and experienced the night over and over, and the fear consumed them more, they started mutating into what was apparently the Wendigo. Now, the Wendigo is like a really huge thing in the games. It's one of the big creatures that is in the games and goes along the story. And yeah, even I didn't really like the explanation of what they did in the film. Even I was a bit like, okay, I think the idea, and again, I apologise, I can't remember if this was in the game, so again, I do apologise if the whole idea of experimentation of fear and all that lot wasn't in the games. There's only so much I remember because I played it years ago. But just going off from the films, I think the idea of experimentation through fear is interesting. And then when the fear takes over your body changes with it. I think that's really interesting. What they shouldn't have done is then gone, oh, and then you turn into the Wendigo. It's like, that's not... no. No. The explanation of the Wendigo and how that came about was a bit odd. But again, if that is in the game, then let me know. But I don't remember it being like that. The main character, Clover, she gets possessed in the second night. I thought that was going to go somewhere, and she ended up getting run over, and then the clock started up again. I wish they'd done more with that. They seemed to start having the characters be possessed, and then just didn't do anything with it, which was also a shame. There was another sequence, which is one of my favourite, where one of the characters, interestingly called Megan, it's established pretty much since the beginning of the film that she has like psychic powers or is psychic in some way. And she's used essentially in one sequence as a gateway for other victims who have been here already to communicate to the characters through her. So they are speaking through her. And that was a really cool sequence. But I think some of these sort of possession things they could have done more with that. There's a whole bit near the end as well where one of the characters realises that, oh, I've been filming stuff as we've been going along. Because another plot point is that they've forgotten how long, or haven't realised how long they've actually been here for, and they're forgetting each thing's from the night before. And one of the characters suddenly realises, oh, I've been filming stuff, which is where we get the clip of the little bug going into Clover's cheek and her eyes like start going weird. It was annoying that is literally just, that is the clip, that is the whole scene, and it's from the point of view of this guy's phone. And I wish they'd done more with that, because it seems that, oh, different things are going to come at you, you know. They find a table with a bunch of papers on it at one point in the house, and there's drawings of like werewolves. And I wish they'd done more with that. Like, if you're going to make this so different in terms of the game mechanics and stuff, then just go Cabin in the Woods with it. I can hear the torches being lit and the pitchforks being picked up. Because I can hear the argument being like, well, that's not Until Dawn then. And I guess that does come back to the overall argument of, yeah, if you're going to take away from it so much, it's not Until Dawn. They've taken the concept of like surviving until dawn and that's it. My point being overall, because I'm going off on one, my point being is that if you were going to sort of starting to have a sequence of them being possessed, then do more with it. Don't just finish it off quickly and that's it. And on that note, it's established that, yeah, they don't remember stuff from the previous nights. So how come they remember what the water does? So in another one of my favourite sequences, they end up hiding in the bathroom because they're like, okay, if we just stay in one room, then nothing will come for us. We're not running around all over the house trying to, getting lost or whatever. And the tap in the bathroom hasn't been working for the whole film. One of them tries it and starts drinking the water. They all start drinking the same water, and they start blowing up. Which is an incredible sequence. The gore effects in this were really good actually as well. And the effects were really good too. But yeah, that was an incredible sequence. But it's established they can't remember stuff from the previous night. So how come they remember what the water does and that it blows people up? I didn't really understand that one. That didn't make a lot of sense to me. There's a reference to Rami Malek, who was in the game. I'm not going to say who he was in the game. I feel like that's going too much into game spoilers. But he's a reference, and he's sort of explained as, oh, he was a past patient in my experiments. And that's kind of it. And at the same time, I feel like, okay, that's explanation enough, like, for him to be included in this. I overall enjoyed Until Dawn. I know it probably didn't sound like I did. I definitely have problems with it, and I can definitely see why fans are probably not going to like this. But I think I'm probably, unfortunately, the best audience for this, where it's like, I remember some of it, but not everything. Would I recommend this to video game fans? I probably would do, just to be like, I know after everything I've just said, but I probably would do just to be like, look, you guys make your mind up on what you think. So, because I think this is going to be really divisive. But yeah, I've been rambling on for way too long. But this was my review on Until Dawn. I was Megan. This is Battle Royale with Cheese. See you soon.